I'm going to go over some function problems just to make sure you're comfortable with them, because there's different ways that function problems can be presented. So hopefully these will help when you get one and you'll be able to figure it out, even if it doesn't look familiar. So hold on a second, we'll switch cameras. All right. So again, these don't even have a function box. And when I'm talking about function box, I'm talking about those. But what this is, it's asking you to figure out the pattern. And that's what you do often in function boxes. So let's pick number 3. It goes from 4 to 12 to 36 to 108. What might the rule be? How do we go from 4 to 12? Well, 4 times 3, right? 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 3 is 36. And 36 times 3 is 108. So the rule is to multiply by 3. And let's take a look at number 4. 250 to 50 to 10 to 2. How do we get down from 250 to 2? Well, looking at 250 and 50, if I divided 250 by 5, I would get 10, or excuse me, I would get 50. If I divided 50 by 5, I'd get 10. If I divided 10 by 5, I'd get 2. So I'm going to divide by 5. What this is doing is getting you comfortable with finding patterns in a string of numbers. And it just means that there's one rule. It could be far more complicated than dividing by a single number. But for now, we're just going to get you comfortable recognizing a pattern. Then we're going to go on to function tables, function boxes. So this is what we were working on a couple weeks ago. Here we have our equation, y equals x minus 9. Here we have all our x's. So we're going to plug the x in and then calculate and find our y. So if x is 4, 4 minus 9 is negative 5. That means when x is 4, y is negative 5. When x is 2, so let me write that down. Y equals x minus 9. We're going to take that 2. When x is 2 minus 9, y is going to be negative 7, isn't it? So negative 7. When x is 0 minus 9, y is going to be negative 9. When x is 8 minus 9, y is going to be negative 1. But the last one? Nope, there's 7. And when x is 7 minus 9, y is negative 2. So this is the pattern. This equation is the pattern for your input x to find your output y. And those are probably 2 new terms. But anytime you've got a function box, we know it's X and Y, just like ordered pair. X is the input, Y is the output. And I'm going to throw two more terms at you. You don't need them for this, but just in case they show up, X is also the range. Sorry, X is the domain. And Y is the range. And I'm going to do something next week to introduce this concept. So function box, X column, Y column. Also, you could see it as input and output. On GED, you will not. You'll see it as XY. But when you're studying and you're finding resources, it may be input and output. And then later, we'll worry about domain and range. But X would be the domain, Y would be the range. All right, let's try one more. So there's lots for you to practice on here. Again, you are given the pattern, you're given the equation, they give you the X's. You're just going to fill these in based on calculating this when you substitute X, 2 for X, and then you do the equation, find Y. Substitute 1 for X, do the equation, find Y. Substitute 4 for X, do the equation, find Y. And then there's some fun ones. Always, right? Why wouldn't they throw fractions in the midst? And you probably notice these equations, these are in slope-intercept form. Y equals slope times X plus, technically it's plus your y-intercept. So your y-intercept is -5. You would plot that on your graph. Your slope is 1/3, -1/3. You could plot this line with this information. And you could find a y and an x once you've graphed your line. It's kind of nice. Graphing is very cyclical. If you start here, you can find some of this. If you start here, you can find what you need. It's pretty interesting. All right, let's try this one. Y equals -1/3 X minus 5. Probably going to use my calculator for this one. And these are not going to be whole numbers. I don't love when they give you decimals and fractions, but it happens. All right, so we're looking at -1/3. So on your calculator, negative is down here below the 3. Don't use the minus sign as a negative. Use this button below the 3. That's your negative. So we've got negative. Then we're going to use the fraction button, numerator over denominator. And then the fraction is 1, arrow down, 3, arrow out of fraction mode, times -8. And we've got 8/3, or let's do the decimal because we won't use 8/3 on a graph. We're going to go right over here. So this was your fraction key. This one in green, right above the table key, you see F toggles D. This means fraction to decimal and back. So if you've got a fraction, you can change it to a decimal. If you've got a decimal, you can change it to a fraction. That's good news. All right, so we've got 8/3. We're going to hit the green button, then this button, enter, 2.66666. So this is going to be 2.7. Again, decimals are not great in graphing, but it happens. All right, so let's do another one. -1/3 times -1. Oh, you know what? I missed that right there. I forgot to do my -5. So this was 2.7 minus 5. I didn't finish my equation. So 2.7 minus 5 is -2.3. So almost had it, but I didn't finish. -2.3. So let's do this next one. -1/3 times -1 is going to be +1/3 minus 5. So 1/3 minus 5 is going to be -4 2/3. I think we can double check. Do the fraction key. And that was 1/3 minus 5 should be 4, -4. And green button, fraction to decimal, enter, -4.66666. So -4.7. All right, and then -1/3 times -6. I'm going to do that one on the calculator. Fraction button, -1, arrow down, 3, get out of fraction mode. And that was times -6. Make sure you can see that. 2. So 2 minus 5 is -3. Kind of cool, huh? Let's do -1/3. So negative fraction, and it doesn't matter. It does not matter if you do fraction button first and then -1/3, or do negative, then the fraction button. You'll be fine. You better be fine. I should probably check before I say that, huh? 1/3, arrow out of fraction mode, times 2, enter, is -2/3 minus 5. And you can just, on your calculator, from this point, just hit -5 and see, it takes that answer over. Hit enter. Our answer is going to be -17/3, but we're going to hit the green button, then the fraction to decimal, enter, -5.66666. So -5.7, we'll say. What do you think? It's following a pattern for sure, isn't it? And this one's probably going to be -6.7, 7.7. Let's try it. Negative, let me clear that. Negative fraction 1, arrow down, 3, arrow out of fraction mode, times, and that was 4, yep, equals -4/3 minus 5. And again, once you've got your answer there, you can just do the -5, because the calculator will carry your answer over. Enter, -19/3. Go for the green button. Go for the fraction to decimal. Enter, -6.33333. -6 point either 3, 4, or 6.4, however far out you're going to round. So you can have fractions in equations. Your calculator will deal with it. these will be easier, 7 times 3 is 21 plus 7 will be 28. But this is really good practice getting you comfortable with function boxes. So give that a go and see how you do. All right, have fun with it. And don't do the whole page. Do a couple a day. All right, everybody, see you soon.